Hi guys, and welcome back for another little video, and this is still in the Hawker Tempest, the Warbirds Replicas Hawker Tempest series of videos. And the reason I'm making this one is because yesterday I had delivered the retracts kit that I can retrofit to the Tempest. So that's what this video is going to be about, how you go about doing that once you've already built your Tempest. Obviously the same thing would apply if you haven't built it, but it's arguably harder if you have already built it. So let's go and look on the workbench and see what we've got to play with. So my nice box of bits arrived in there, the instructions. I've already pressed the bits out. There's a ply pre-cut laser cut piece. You've got a couple of thin strips of ply there for actually lining the wheel wells. Lots of Paul's kitchen tissue, which you can reuse in the kitchen. The legs with gear doors. Nice little touch about using electrical connectors there, bolted through. And then we've got our retracts and a wire lead in here. Okay, so let's just chuck those bits back in. So once you've pressed all the bits out of the ply sheet, you'll end up with bits that you glue together and form these boxes. These hold the retracts screwed through and obviously are seated into the wing, obviously the underside. However, one of the things that the guys noted, Richard noted as soon as he started to use these, was that this ply, I mean, we're now getting we're getting cheap ply. And by cheap, I don't mean that's what we're being charged. I mean, it's the actual ply itself isn't very good quality, unfortunately, light ply, or it's hit and miss. So consequently, the screws can pull out. So also in the kit, you'll get this bit or two pieces of a beachy, which you cut to fit into the retract box to give you some extra depth to screw the retracts into. Now I've already glued this one together with super glue and the other one, and I've cut the two additional bearers there. You can see they've got a slight angle to them there, and they then will fit inside, and you want them to be a snug fit into the box there, because you're going to glue those in. Now one thing I would suggest is, I've built these and pre-assembled these for the video. However, one of the best things to do would be to cut these before you assemble the box, so you can cut it to length, correctly to length, and then stick them to the ply before you assemble it. The other thing you may want to do is, because you've got a cutout, circular cutout there and a small cutout there, you may want to pre-cut or shape this to fit. I'm sticking mine in, and then I'm going to shape it afterwards. So what I'm going to do is stick those in like that. They go in like that, and then I'll use my Dremel and I'll cut that recess there and the recess there and the little recess on the other side, which are for the servo fittings. Okay, so they're the boxes, and I'm going to stick those back in top of the box, my cardboard box, because I want to turn my attention now to the wing and what we have to do with the wing. So let's just drag the wing over. Leading edge, trailing edge, of course. So what's going to happen is the servos, the retracts go in here, and as part of the kit you get a template there which you cut out, place on the wing, mark round and cut out through the veneer and cut out the foam for the box to mount into, and obviously the leg to go into. Now, because my model is already assembled, the wing's already assembled, this line here on the template, on the template, the edge of the box, actually goes in line with the dihedral joint in the outer wing panel and the inner wing panel. But of course mine's all covered and it's very difficult to find out where that actual joint is. Does it need to be that accurate? No, to be quite honest, it doesn't. Although cutting it may be a bit difficult if you've glued it together with epoxy, or like I've used Gorilla Glue, maybe a bit difficult to cut into it. But the measurement is from the centre line 10 inches to that dihedral brace. But you can, just to make doubly sure, just lay a straight edge down there, and you can possibly see it, and you'll see where that rocks, and of course that's the break. So you want to make the cut line there just inboard of that rocking point. Similarly, the front of the box, you'll see it's got a staggered, this piece here is longer than that one. Let me get the box and show you what I mean. If I hold that there, you'll see that is shorter than that, and the reason for that is that there is the back of the leading edge and the ply balsa leading edge, there is a dihedral brace. So what we can't have is that the same length. That can't be the same length because that one's got to fit against or butt against the dihedral brace. Now, knowing where that is in the wing before you cut is, you know, quite a problem. So what I did was I just used a pin and kept pushing through the skin until I felt some resistance here, and that is where my my dihedral brace is coming back to here. So I will cut along a line along there. Sorry, I'll cut a line coming down here till it butts up against, till it stops against the dihedral brace, and then I know that that piece there is going to butt up against it. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to get the other box, just that's the way round it will be, because the legs go backwards. So I'm going to cut that on video now to show you what I'm going to do. The other thing I will point out is that the template here shows that my undercarriage, the wheel, is going to cut into my belly pan. Doesn't matter, I'll have to cut the belly pan to suit. So first things first, cut out the template. Right, with the template cut out, I can position that on the wing, and it's going to go in that position there. So all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to make a mark with the pen first of all, just to show me roughly where it's got to go. And now, the scary bit, I'm going to go straight into the wing with the knife where I think the joint is, and keep cutting down until I hit the ply brace, which is there. Okay, so that's where my ply brace is. I'll leave the knife in place. I'll make a mark on there. Now with that lined up, I can now make my marks, and all I'm going to do is just mark the corners with a little dot, all the way round the template. I'll leave the curve for the moment. There. And what I'm now going to do is join up the dots. Why am I doing it like this? Because then I can see where I've got to cut to. Like that. Just makes it easier. I can see what I'm doing. You may want to draw around the template yourself, which is absolutely fine. I'm just joining the dots that I've just formed in the corner. I want it to be a tight fit, but at the end of the day we're gluing something in, so there's going to be Gorilla Glue involved, which is going to expand out. Let's just double check. It's going to expand out, so any gaps that are formed will be filled by the Gorilla Glue. Like so. And that one goes up to scary when you're going to cut through your nicely finished model, but not a lot we can do about that. So that's that bit. Let's have a look at the circle now. Now, normally what I would do is I would use a circle cutter and put it in the middle and cut round, but because I've got this in place, I'm a bit stuck on that, so I've just got to draw around the template here and then improvise round here, making sure it doesn't move too much. Bit of freehand to join those up there. So that's what we're looking at. Hopefully you can see that. I'll just hold it up to the camera. I've drawn out now where I've got to cut. That moment of truth. I'm going to cut. First things first, I'm going to cut down this line here, my cut line that I originally did, and hope that that's on the inside of my dihedral joint. Feels good. And here as well. And that stops at my dihedral brace. That That's on the line, I can feel that. There, let's just cut all these. Here. Cut my verticals. Those ones I've done. Across here. Make sure you've got a sharp scalpel when you do this. It makes your job so much easier. Stick that under to stop it rocking. So all that should be cut through. So what I'm going to do is just it's a bit like when we cut out the servo pockets. Keeping quiet because I'm concentrating. So concentrating so hard I just realised I don't think I've cut these. That would have been a bit of a moment. Pulling off the veneer and the whole wing veneer comes off. So that's going to fit in there like so when I've cut the foam out. Looking good so far. Right, better cut this circle out now. And this is all going to be done freehand. Following that pen line I just did. Another thing we're going to have to do is form a channel for the servo cable, the retract servo cable, to go up into the fuselage. That's going to be interesting doing that. But I have a plan of how I'm going to do it. Hope I'm not boring you. There. Now this one's going to be the more of a problem, because obviously this is balsa. So on this one, again, I'm just freehanding the cut. It's balsa on top of the veneer, so I'm cutting through the balsa and then I've got to cut through the veneer. You may not have this because you may not have put the belly pan on. Again, just freehanding this, which can be a bit difficult because of the grain of the balsa. Is wanting the blade to go maybe to a place you don't want it to go. But I'll tidy all this up with the Dremel. I suppose what I could have done, it would have been a bit difficult because of this balsa belly pan is, but I think it's on the form it's Tim Flyer. When we were building our Lavochkins from Warbirds Replicas a few years ago, cutting out the retracts in the foam veneer, I think it was Tim who said we'll use a hole saw, one of those circular disc thingies. He said, but rotate it the reverse direction because it's not as aggressive. What a splendid idea. Could I have done that? Oh, I don't know, because of it would have been a bit difficult because of the uplift on the belly pan, but anyway, I'm there now. Take your time over it. If the veneer doesn't start lifting in the right place, then recut it, because you don't want to pull the veneer off the wrong part of the wing. So on that one I'm going to get my longer blade. This one here, because with this one I can go in like so. Just sort of slicing through the glue. This is potentially the awkward bit where my belly pan is. Let's come to that in a moment. It pulls off quite nicely. Will you look at that? that cut out. The next thing I've got to do is remove the foam, and what I'm going to use for that is my converted soldering iron with the U-shaped wire on. So I'll just go and get that and chop the foam out. Right, so let's just let this warm up. Brush that on the floor and I'll sweep that up later. These have got to go down full depth to the top skin, because we're going to stick that to the top veneer, so all of this foam needs to come out here. So let's just use the starting depth. Well, that was a bit of luck. I can actually see there the glue, the Gorilla Glue joint of the dihedral, so I was bang on that line. Good guess. Now with the foam all cut out, as you can see there, there's my block with the cutouts in the bearers. The retract unit fits in there, a nice snug fit, like so, and then that will be glued in there, and I'll use Gorilla Glue, gold, brown, whatever colour you want to call it, on there, and I'll keep that pinned down. I want that right against those riblets, right against the top veneer, and then the leg will fit in there like that. So all in all, pretty easy job. The holes here get lined. Now Richard's provided some thin ply which we would need to soak on the outside, curve around something nice and tight so we can get it to fit in there, and then line the top surface. The instructions, sorry, Paul said the instructions say to line that with some card or something just to hide the foam. You could glass it, I suppose, really give it a bit more strength on that, because you could pick the wing up arguably and push your finger through the veneer, because that's all that's there. So yeah, maybe putting a bit of glass cloth on there. You don't want it too thick, because obviously the wheel has got to sit in there. So, and then finally what I've got to do is then use a heat gun and just curve that round so that it meets the surface there. So the next job, I'll do the second one, and then I'll glue them both in together, clamp them, let them dry, and then I'll form the well surround, do whatever I'm going to do to the surface here, and take it from there.